Today, we're talking about what to do when someone copies you. Well, hello there. I'm Nafissa Shireen, success coach and business strategist for entrepreneurs, and welcome to Living Forward TV, where I help you to build your business and design your life all around your personal freedom. If that sounds like something you'd like to do, then I invite you to subscribe to my channel and join my community. And make sure to click the bell notification so that you are the first to know when I publish new episodes and release new content. Sharma is one of my favorite authors of all time. He has so many great quotes and a whole lot of truth bombs. And when it comes to being copied, he says, you know you're winning when you see you're being copied. And conceptually, there's so much truth to that statement. And at the same time, when you're on the receiving end of it, it totally sucks when someone rips off your work and then tries to pass it off as their own. And maybe it's not blatant plagiarism, but it's still pretty obvious that their ideas originated with you. Or maybe it's even more subtle in that, you see a whole lot of you in what it is they do. So whether that's the words they choose or the fonts they use or the topics they speak about or the images they use in their marketing. And sometimes, and this is really annoying, it's not even anything you can directly pinpoint or talk to them about without sounding like you're the crazy one. I get it. It's upsetting, right? And here's the thing. I just want you to know, I totally understand. In my time as an entrepreneur, I've had so much of my stuff copied. Some stuff I've actually even had stolen. I once had a custom design logo a few years ago, and I don't know who took it, but it ended up on a major stock photography website. I also had a complete marketing and email sequence copied verbatim, every single email, word for word. And get this, the person that did it, I was on their email list, so it all ended up in my inbox. Another time, I hosted an event, and a few months later, somebody else not only had an event with the exact same name, the artwork for the event was the same, and the fonts she used were the same, and the words were put together in the imagery exactly the way I had it. I mean, she was nice enough to change the colors, okay? But the point is, it does happen. The more you put yourself out there and the more visible you become in your business and in your field as a thought leader, the more it's going to happen. I mean, get this. As soon as I'd finished doing the outline for this episode, I had put the pen down right away. Right at that moment, it was brought to my attention that someone who's been on my email list for years and who downloads all of my materials and free resources had just updated her website and used a whole lot of my web copy in the process. She changed it around just enough so that it wasn't outright plagiarism, though some of it was word for word. And her programs, I thought I was reading my own sales page. And her new images and fonts resembled the ones on my program page in style and color. I was like, oh my, isn't that interesting? Especially with the perspective I'm going to offer you today. And the reason I'm sharing all these experiences with you is because when I say what I'm about to share, I really want you to know that if it's happened to you, I get it at a visceral level. It doesn't feel good. It's totally not cool when people do that. It's wrong. But what do you actually do? Do you hire a lawyer? Do you confront them? Do you stew about it silently and have too much ice cream or dream about shaming them on social media? Or do you just let it go? Now, aside from sulking and shaming, which are never productive or professional behaviors, the answer on what to do really is, it depends. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on the context of the copying, it depends on the severity, it depends on the frequency, and what it's going to cost you to mitigate it. And it also depends on your relationship with the person. And I like to think the most important thing is what their intention was. And as a general rule, I really don't like to pay attention to what other people are doing that I can't control. If people are out of integrity, it's going to catch up to them. It may not seem like it in the moment, but I promise you it will. And I just think the last thing you want to do is to focus on that negative energy and bring that into your business. I am so protective about business energy. But on a practical level, in business, you do need to protect your assets, and your intellectual property is a huge asset. And for any body of work that you create that's going to be a revenue generator for you, you really want to make sure that you've done your due diligence and have it protected upfront with copyrights and trademarks. That way, if someone does steal your work, and yes, copying is stealing, then you have something you can fall back on. And that's when you would get a lawyer involved to help you put an end to it. Of course, you have to put some thought into that because a lawyer is a significant expense. You want to make sure that before you go ahead with it, you really weigh the pros and cons and the cost and benefits of getting a lawyer involved. When my logo was stolen, it was a huge, huge blow to me because I loved it. But the cost of fighting a major stock photography company was astronomical. It just didn't seem like it was worth it. My designer worked with me and she actually didn't charge me to give me a new logo. But you know what? Even if she did charge me, I still would have done it, and that would have been the right thing to do because paying for a new logo was far more cost effective than legal fees. And it kept the energy in my business really clean. And the universe has a funny way of working, along with a wonderful way of working, because at the time I was actually going through a transition, and so it was kind of time to get a new logo anyway. And then instead of a heavy negative fighting energy, this actually created an opportunity for me to bring a whole new fresh and fun energy to my business. That's why my advice to you is to really think through whether or not it's worth it to take action when somebody does copy you, because the energy in your business is an asset as well, and protecting the energy is just as important as protecting the other assets. The only time I ever actually did have a lawyer take action and send a cease and desist letter to someone was the time that my whole marketing sequence was copied. And that incident on its own, it was annoying, but it probably wasn't that big a deal. But there had been an ongoing pattern of behavior over 18 months with that person that was escalating and continued to escalate. And so as the CEO of my business, I knew I needed to put a stop to it. But we did it firmly, we did it kindly, and it was a one-time thing, and then we put it behind us to keep the energy clean. We didn't stew about it, we didn't think about it, we didn't sulk about it, we didn't tell people we knew in common what she did, we just dealt with it. Now, these two situations that I talked about were really cut and dry, and if that happens for you, it makes it really clear for you to weigh the pros and cons and for you to decide what course of action you should take, whether you're going to take it further or let it go. But what happens when we talked about earlier at the beginning that the copying is more subtle, or where the person's modeling you, or their ideas sound very familiar because they're your ideas, or everything they do seems to reflect something you've said or something you've posted on social media? In those situations, Robin Sharma's words where he says, "You know you're winning when you're being copied," really, really ring true here. Most of the times in those situations, when you're being modeled, the person actually isn't trying to steal your work. They're not outright copying your work. And let's face it, there's really not any true original content or ideas out there. Everything is an evolution of a concept or another idea. I mean, just do a Google search of this topic that we're talking about today, what to do when someone copies you. There are over 4 million results on Google and 2 million results on YouTube. I even have another video about it because it's a hot topic. But you know what? There'll only be one me. And that's because I've got my perspective and my experience and my voice, and no one else can do it the way I do it. You've got to think, though, when these people are modeling you or resembling you, they likely share a lot of the same values and ideas that you do. And especially if they're new in business or they're struggling, they haven't found their own voice. They see in you someone who has created or is creating what they want, and they're naturally drawn to you and how you do things, and their intentions are really just pure. And the thing is, modeling you and copying your voice isn't going to work for them in the long run, because while it may be what they believe in or your ideas are something they really resonate with, it's not their voice. It won't look natural, it won't sound natural, the people listening will know something's off. It's no different than a little girl who puts on her mom's clothes and plays dress up and then tries to walk in her shoes. She may be cute, but she's awkward and off balanced, and everybody knows she's copying mom. Then, as she grows up and she matures and she develops her own voice, she's still going to have elements of her mom because, her mom was a big influence on her. She loves her mom. However, at that point, she will be uniquely her. It's the same thing for whoever's modeling you. You've had a positive impact on them, and so they'll likely always have an element of what you've given them. But as they mature as an entrepreneur, what resembles you is just going to blend into everything else that's influenced them and affected them, and they will develop their own unique voice. That's why in those situations, as much as it sucks to see your ideas on someone else's platform, the best course of action is to have compassion. Be a little bit flattered, and then just let it go. After all, as I said, there are no original ideas. Like, you also are the representation and the culmination of a whole lot of things that have influenced and inspired you, just like I am. Think about it. Be really, really honest with yourself. Who's influenced you? And who's influenced your voice as you've developed? And be really honest, who's still influencing you? In conclusion, the most important thing to remember is that yes, there will be people who do similar things to you. And there are some people out there who don't have great intentions and who will blatantly rip you off, which is gross. I get it. But more than likely, there will also be a lot more people who are genuinely inspired by what you do, that they just, unintentionally start to sound like you for a little while, just a little while. And the truth is, there is only one you, and only you can do what you do the way you do it for the people who need it from you. Focus on being unique, and you'll never have to worry about being copied. If you enjoyed today's episode, share this with someone who you know needs it, and remember to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you in my community. And if you really want to grow your business and meet an awesome tribe of entrepreneurs and get daily inspiration from me, then I'd like to invite you to join the free Living Forward Facebook community and continue the conversation. Simply hop on over to livingforwardcommunity.com, click the Join Now button, and I'll see you on the inside.